Hello, I'm Dr. Wayne House, Distinguished Research Professor at Faith International University and Faith Seminary. I want to introduce to you today the House Visual Study Bible. Now, you know there are probably a number of study Bibles that are available, both through apps that people have that you purchase their programs, and there are also several that are on the internet. About 10 years ago, after having spent at that time, over 40 years in teaching biblical and theological subjects, and having done almost 40 books, 150 articles, including the Nelson Study Bible, which is now called the NKJV Study Bible, and the Nelson's one-volume illustrated Bible commentary, I have decided to produce something that has never yet been done before. And I did this because I sensed that a lot of people, even who buy Bible programs and even sometimes $1,000 worth of books to be able to use the program in doing research, oftentimes never actually use their product or do it very seldomly. So I thought I need to do something to help people get into the Bible more. So what I've decided to do is create something that helps people to understand very easily the biblical text by using images, articles, and video, explaining chapter by chapter, first of all through the New Testament and then through the Old Testament, the order in which these are being done. The New Testament is essentially complete. The Old Testament hopefully will be done at the end of this summer. What I want to do now is introduce the product to you, and then also let you see the various kinds of things that it will do if you will use it properly in your study. Let me first of all, I have my cursor and I'll put here. We're going to look down the page and see sort of what the House Visual Study Bible is about and how it differs from other study Bibles. I have a friend who actually has been in Bible study programs for many years and has been in charge of major projects, who told me that he has looked throughout the internet and there simply is nothing like this study Bible. It's unique. It's intended to help you to understand the Scripture more without going through the kind of laborious work and expense that goes into buying lots of books to use your study Bible. We're first of all going to just simply go down the page and show you what we deal with is biographies, customs, culture. We talk about artifacts, biblical sites. We discuss questions relating to word studies, any number of kinds of textual problems that some people bring up. We go through and try to explain the Bible. And if the difference that we do here is reflected in this parallel learning, because so often a person will be looking at a particular text, like let's say John 3:16, and would then say, well, what does this word mean? And then they'll take their tools and click it and go off somewhere to another book somewhere, and they'll be researching and reading it about maybe in a dictionary or commentary or some other Bible study book about that word or maybe that verse. Or they will have a concern about where is this location the text is talking about, like in John 4 when you have the woman at the well, and where is that? And so you wonder, well, where is Mount Gerizim and Samaria, and how would all that relate? Well, most people get lost in that. Very few people use these study tools very effectively. What I'm trying to do is do this, parallel learning, that you read the biblical text on the left and you get the answers to the biblical text on the right, clicking buttons. This opens up like this photo, this image, and then you can look at it, you can click it again, it gets much larger and you can examine it. And then when you're finished, you click it and it goes away and you can continue your reading. So as you read through the text, you click, it opens either to a study, to an image, maybe to a video, and then you can find out more about what this text is teaching without having to lose the context for your reading and going to other tools that also cost you a lot of money to purchase. So we don't do it that way. We want you to stay in the Bible, keep reading chapter by chapter through the text, side by side, between the images, articles, and videos and the text itself. Now, for example, in the study Bible, the House Visual Study Bible, HVSB for short, you'll look at images, articles, charts, maps, videos. All these things are there for you to gain a greater understanding of the text without losing your perspective. Just to give you a perspective about me, I mentioned a little bit. I've taught biblical and theological studies at a number of universities and seminaries during a teaching career of over 50 years. Written all these books and articles, and been involved in Bible study tools for a long time. I'm the general editor of the Evangelical Exegetical Commentary Series, the academic scholarly series for Logos Faith Life, a 44-volume set, and doing a couple commentaries with a couple other people in that series. And what I've done is take the understanding that I've amassed over a lifetime, including some assistance from outstanding biblical scholars in Europe and England and America and Canada and Australia and other places, who've also added some of the articles to the project. Also, I've had the benefit of having some friends in this. Dean Bible Ministries, to mention that, has been very supportive, and you may be familiar with that. Accordance Bible software is very good. It's a good study tool. And the House Visual Study Bible works right within Accordance with no trouble, in case you do own Accordance. Or you can use it standalone. Bible Places is put out by a man by the name of Todd Boland. And Todd is a very well-known person for taking pictures of the Holy Land. So what he's done, he's taken thousands of pictures. I think he has about 70,000 in his listing of pictures that are great pictures you can purchase. And also Faith International University, where I teach. If you should desire to look at any of these, all you have to do is do a link at these sites and you'll get more information. Pricing is very economical. You can do a subscription for $5 a month or $50 a year. Obviously the $50 saves you 2 months cost. And you start with a 2-week trial period. That is, you don't have to make a decision immediately. You can try it. And after 2 weeks, it will ask you whether you want to continue. If you do, it charges your credit card. If you choose not to, your credit card will never be charged. This is a work in progress. What is meant by that? This is called a progressive app. That is, it's always growing. So whatever you buy now is not all that you get. You get a lot now, but it continues to grow with videos and photos and maps and charts and biblical studies of various sorts and everything imaginable as far as helping you to understand the Bible. Every single month it gets more and more and more, and we'll be doing that for years. So you get a lot from the product if you desire to purchase the subscription. Let's look inside and see what we see inside. Here's an example. I've just picked up Luke 1 here. There's many we could pick. But in Luke 1, for example, you read the text on the left. And if you'll notice here, there are these little markers. Note it says Note, Introduction to the Gospel According to Luke. If you click that, you can click it this way, and there it comes. It introduces you to Luke. Tells you all about the book, who wrote it, what we think about it. Or you can go back then, and if you're reading and you say, I want to look at it, you just simply go like this photo here. You click it, and it opens up. It shows you the photo, tells you what it's about, and also gives you information here. And then you simply go back to your reading. You never have to leave the chapter you're reading. You can just keep reading and understanding all the way down the page, learning this information without running all over 15 different tools somewhere and paying many hundreds, if not $1,000 or more of money for biblical tools to help you to understand the text. I want to make it easy for you. And so that's what we're doing here. Let's use another example. Let's say you want to listen to something I have to say on a video, and there are many of these here. By the way, the sources you're looking at right now have deletes, and you won't have that on yours. This is a backside of the program where I control what I put in, and that helps because sometimes I might look at something and say, you know, I probably could have said something more here, and I'll click it just based on my knowledge, and I will type in maybe another sentence or two or a paragraph, and I can continue to add to it as time goes on. Or if I say, oh, I missed this, I need to add that, I come over here and click it, and I can add it to the sources I have here of articles, images, and videos. But let's take a look at the video. If you'll notice, this video is 28 seconds long. It's a short one. Sometimes they're several minutes long. And it's connected to verse 1. So what you do is you come over here and you read that it says video. So we're going to connect this to the video here and take a look. You have a chance. It mentions me. This was done by a friend of mine in a series that he was doing. I have several of these in that series that he was doing. And so he's permitted me to go ahead and use these in the study Bible. The accuracy of Luke, found in Luke 1 through 4. And so it corresponds to where we are. And there's my name and so forth. So let me click this and let you see. Most scholars now consider Luke to be a fairly reliable historian, even those of the critical school. Obviously, those who hold a more conservative perspective like me would consider him writing authentic and credible history. Luke starts off the Gospel of Luke saying that he has actually taken the time to do the investigation. He didn't pull it out of the air of his mind or fables or secondary sources. He actually went and talked to the people who are characters in the book. In other words, he interviewed people to find out what were the facts. So this video is trying to help you to understand more about Luke 1 through 4, where we talk about Luke's accuracy in presenting the story of Jesus. That is, he talked to those people that knew Jesus, he looked at the events, all the sources, and he came up with a book that's a reliable book, and that's what I'm seeking to argue here at the first. And of course, throughout the book, you'll find things like this that will demonstrate accuracy. You can also come over here if you want to and look at other videos right now, even though they're not connected directly to the text. Biblical faith is rooted in history here, and the importance of geography and history in our studies and so forth. And the aqueducts that are near Caesarea Maritima talk about this. It just shows you 3. But it has many others you can go to from time to time. Also, you get advantages like this. I'm going to go back now to show you how this moves. Very simple to use. Notice, the New Testament's down the right-hand side, the Old Testament down the left. All you do is go to here. You see it. When you click it, the verses on the right, the chapters, I should say, will change. And notice Matthew has 28, Luke has 24. So we'll check Matthew. I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 1. And here is another example. And I was trying to demonstrate in this one something about a topical or artifact study, I should say. Artifact study, archaeological evidence for the existence of King David. If you'll notice, it's connected to verse 1. So we'll go to verse 1. And this little marker here, if you'll read it, it says archaeological evidence for the existence of King David. And then we have these various pictures. There it tells you what the picture's about, tells you what this picture's about, all these various pictures. But let's just go ahead and click this rather than going all the way to the other side, and click it, and it opens up. When it opens up, I start talking about the artifacts that support archaeologically evidence for David's existence. Say a little bit about it, give you portions from the actual translation of this Aramaic source you're looking at here. The House of David inscription from Tel Dan. Aramaic, and nonetheless the English is given here to help you to read it. Shows you how the English and the Aramaic correspond. The person that found this source is Avraham Biran, who I spent time with at Hebrew Union College in Jerusalem, as he points to the King David. And here I am, much younger, back in 1996, pointing at the same place, if you desire to open that and see me many years ago. And then I talk about the Mesha stele, also called the Moabite stone sometimes, which reveals that the House of David is mentioned in a Moabite document. Here's a stone that had in Moabite the information about the House of David. And I mention it right here. I give it to you, what it says. Show you a drawing if you want to look at the drawing, which shows you a little bit better about the writing. And then I move to another source, all the way going down to Egypt, about another inscription, the Highlands of David, with King Shishak mentioned in the Bible, Oshoshuk in the Egyptian at Karnak. And there you have the translation. Here's a source. You can look at the entire wall if you click it open. And that shows you the wall where it came from, which is right down here, if you'll notice. And then I can make that bigger if you want to look at more detail and see exactly that this actually is all the early archaeological sources that we have at the beginning of the 19th century, the beginning of the 20th century. And archaeologists who were working at this site actually drew out all these things. They did a drawing to show you where that was. Now, for some reason, it has gone away over the years. We don't know the exact reasons for it, whether it was by the intention of someone wanting to get rid of it because it represented a proof more of the house of David and Israel, or whether it just fell off or what. But we know it was there, and it looked like that. So you can look at more if you want to. Here's a more drawing done by my son-in-law, and it was done very carefully to represent how the others are. You can also click more thoroughly and get a better look at it if you want to. These are the kind of pictures and studies and videos that we have in the House Visual Study Bible. But then again, you have sources about the family history of David, of the house of Jesus, the Messiah. I talk about family history. I talk about the various places of Abraham and Sarah's and Isaac's burial here. I just go into these questions, show you a picture of Machpelah down in Hebron in Israel, give you all sorts of information. Women in the genealogy of Jesus, talk about who these women were, show you pictures of David. This is a drawing. This, on the other hand, is a picture that's taken from another portion of the hills around, and gives you a good look at the city of David going down here, including this wall right here, where you'll see later, because that is sort of the same structure, or same design of a sort, underneath the ground of Hezekiah's tunnel. Show you how it looked at the days, and this is an example of today what it looks like. And there you have the southern steps and the various Muslim buildings here, and the Temple Mount on top. So this is just the kind of pictures you can look at. You can go back to the list, you keep your reading, and as you read, you may find other things you want to look at and study about the ziggurats, the places in Babylon where it would have been places people built things to observe the heavenly sites, things about word studies about Christ, for example, talking about what does it mean for Christ that is Messiah. And it goes on and on and on. And it all corresponds here. Now, you'll notice some of these verses haven't been covered. If you go to a normal study Bible, you won't find, actually, it looks like a lot more, but having done these, I know. So much of the page is taken up with the Bible, and you get very small print to fill in other things. I'm not including small print, very hard to read. And I can keep putting as much as I want because I'm not constricted to pages on print. I can put all I need here. And so eventually all these will also have. I'll probably do a study connected to Isaiah 7:14 on this, on the fact of the virgin. Is it really virgin? Was Jesus really born of a virgin? I'll discuss that theologically based on the Hebrew text, based on the Greek text of the Old Testament, the New Testament, what all this means. Talk about Emmanuel. I explain all of these things. These are just things for the future because you can't do everything at once. But chapter by chapter by chapter, I go in, I give you paintings from ancient works. This is a great painting by a man by the name of Tissot. And it probably looked more like this because any wealthy people like these wise men, I'm sure, came with a caravan, an entourage, guards, and such like. This is a great painting that was done, found in the Brooklyn Museum. And so we just go through and show you more. Here's Masada, for example, looking at it from a distance, and you see the ramp that goes up to Masada in the desert of Israel, and right across from the Dead Sea, as you can see over here. And again, these all get bigger and bigger. And so you can just keep going through and reading and reading and reading. You can look at maps. For example, you can see this one is a small map, by the way, and I have another one to substitute, and I haven't put it in. There's so much to do. But there's so much in here, chapter by chapter. Easily can take many years to just keep filling it full. Every year you have it, you will have more and more and more for your Bible study. You'll never run out. And here's another one, probably a little better for you. And you can see, for example, the cities of the Decapolis, the various breakdowns of Israel as you look at this material. So anyway, this work is, again, $5 a month, $50 a year, very economical, something that's constantly growing. So in some respects, for the money you get, you're getting new books throughout the year because they would fill books in what we're doing on an electronic format. And the information comes from someone who has, myself, who has spent half a century working through this stuff. I'm giving you all that information, putting it all in here for you, and you will have an unbelievable visual study Bible with video and with pictures and with articles written by scholars, including myself, to try to help you to understand the Word of God. And it's something that just every year you'll have it, and it will just continue to be more and more and more for you to use. I hope you'll consider using the product. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.